So today we're going to talk about sore hocks in rabbits, what causes it, and how do you treat it. Let's get to it. Hey there, welcome back to another Slightly Redneck video. Again, my name is Chris, and if you're not familiar with this channel, I help you to produce your own meat, eggs, and vegetables from your backyard, your balcony, your deck, your garage, or even a spare room in your house if that's the way you want to do it. And like I said, today we're going to be talking about sore hocks and rabbits. Now, none of my rabbits have sore hocks. I've actually never had to deal with it, so you may be wondering, how do I know what I'm talking about? But I know because I've researched it quite a bit. Let's start off by what is sore hocks. Sore hocks are, and if you're watching this video, you probably already know that, or you're just a regular subscriber, but either way, sore hocks is basically going to be the back feet of the rabbit. On the pads of their feet, on their back feet, you're going to see it probably a crack across there when it splits open. It's going to be a sore, an obvious sore on the back of their feet. Now you might be able to tell your rabbits have that if they're walking strange, if they're super lethargic, they've got a loss of appetite, you know, any of those kinds of things. That would be a reason to check for sore hocks, and you can pretty easily see it. My rabbit's just kind of sitting back in the corner there. She's a black rabbit, so I don't even know if you can see her because it's looking into a dark hole at a black rabbit. But when they move around the cage, they do tend to lift their feet up, so you'll be able to see the backs of their feet. And when I say back here, because it is almost like an elbow, but you'll be able to see that pretty clearly when they move around the cage, and you can kind of keep an eye on it and see if they do have any signs of sore hocks. It should be pretty obvious when you get to it. You'll see loss of fur on the pad of their foot, the back end of their foot. And like I said, it'll usually be an open wound. So what causes sore hocks? Well, there's a couple of things that can cause sore hocks. One is if you have unsanitary conditions, if you have rabbits sitting in their own feces or urine. That's one of the reasons I use wire cages, because they are self-cleaning. They keep all that stuff away from them. The rabbits are not sitting in their own urine like they would in a solid floor cage. Now, I know that you can sometimes get rabbits to use litter boxes and things like that, but still, if you have a solid floor cage, there is a much higher likelihood that the rabbit is going to be sitting in their own urine or feces, which can contribute to sore hocks. Not necessarily cause it completely, but contribute to it. I do personally believe that sore hocks is primarily a genetic condition that rabbits face. Aside from poor husbandry and those kinds of things, some rabbits are just more prone to sore hocks than other rabbits are. Now, these are meat rabbits. These are silver fox rabbits specifically. Most of your meat rabbit breeds, silver foxes, New Zealand's, California's, Flemish Giant. I mean, there's a ton of different meat rabbit breeds, and most of those larger meat rabbit breeds are not prone to sore hocks. If you are breeding your rabbits for meat and you have a rabbit that comes down with sore hocks, my advice to you is to not breed that rabbit, to cull it from your herd. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean kill it. That just means remove it from your breeding program, because it is a genetic issue. You don't want to pass those genes on to other rabbits in your breeding program, and it's probably going to be a reoccurring issue. So you can treat it, but it's probably going to come back, and you don't want to have to deal with that with a rabbit that's trying to nurse young or any of those kinds of things. It's best to just remove it from your breeding program completely. All right, so other things that can cause sore hocks is if your rabbit is incredibly overweight, which that basically can cause them to put too much pressure on the back of their feet, which could cause that to wear down and to produce sores on the backs of their feet. And we got the barking neighbor dog back. Sorry about that, guys. She barks at us every time we're out here. Maybe it won't be so bad today, hopefully. All right, other things that can cause that. It's not so much of an issue in wire cage floors like this, but in a solid floor, if they have overgrown nails, their nails are incredibly overgrown in the back feet, it causes them to lean back basically when they walk, and that puts more pressure on the backs of their feet, so that can contribute to it as well. Those are really the top issues, unless there's some other kind of underlying illness or something like that with the rabbit. Those are really the top issues that would cause that. Now, I've done an extensive video on wire cages, why they don't cause sore hocks, and I'll leave a link up here. It's probably on this side, actually, that you can go watch that if you want to see all the research that was done on wire cages and sore hocks in rabbits. I'll just give you the summary here. Wire cages do not cause sore hocks. You'll hear that from people from time to time. That is not the case. Now, if you are raising pet rabbits and you have some of the pet breeds, the fur on the back of their feet is a lot thinner, and they will be more prone to sore hocks in a wire cage or in a solid floor cage for that matter, unless you've got them on a very soft, cushy kind of environment, they're going to be more prone to getting sore hocks. Now, let's say you do get sore hocks in your rabbits and you want to treat it. It's either a pet or one that you want to keep for whatever reason, and you want to treat that sore hock. There's a couple of ways that you can do that. One would be, well, primarily clean it out real good first. Maybe an Epsom salt soak, with on the back feet to get it cleaned out. Make sure it's dry, completely dry. You can apply an antibiotic ointment to it, not one with pain reliever in it. Pain reliever is typically toxic to your rabbits, so you don't want to use a pain reliever. Just a regular over-the-counter antibiotic ointment without pain reliever in it. You can also use Preparation H, which is typically used for treating hemorrhoids. That will help shrink the skin up and keep it from splitting open even further, help provide a little bit of relief to that. Another good practice is to gather some excess fur, maybe brush the rabbit, get some shed fur and put that on the wound, wrap it up with a bandage, to like an ACE, not a sticky bandage, but an ACE bandage, wrap that up to keep that tight. And the reason you might use rabbit fur instead of like cotton or something like that is cotton and those kinds of things can get compacted pretty easily, and they can actually make the problem a little bit worse because the rabbit has no choice but to stand on those parts of its feet. You want to provide it with a good soft flooring option to be able to rest on, to get off of the hardwood or the solid floor or the wire floor, even for that matter, if it's got sore hocks. But you're going to have to change that out regularly because it's going to get dirty and it's going to get filthy, but it can be treated. It's something that you can do. And those are primarily the ways that you treat sore hocks. It's a difficult thing to treat. It's generally a reoccurring issue in rabbits that are prone to that. So my advice, again, especially if you're talking meat rabbits, which is what we primarily deal with on this channel, is to just get rid of that rabbit. Don't introduce it into your breeding program. Don't spend any more time on it than you have to. Unfortunately, when it comes to breeding things for meat, for livestock, or even if you're breeding for show and you want to get the best of the best rabbits for show, it means you have to cull pretty hard. And those kinds of issues, sore hocks in a rabbit, is a reason to remove it from your breeding program and cull it out. That is my personal opinion anyway. Hopefully you found some value in this video. I'm going to stop now before the dog gets too terribly annoying over there. Hopefully that didn't bother you too much. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, God bless.